How's it going? This is Jeremy with Priority Maintenance, Episode 2. Whew. It's a hot one in here in Texas, but I'm thankful, fortunate. What are we going to talk about today? Well, let me tell you, we are going to talk about employees. And I can't delve into everything about employees because that is a multi-episode feature right there. But we're just going to talk about employees making mistakes. And boy, do we have a doozy this week. So we have a shop, and our shop has a kitchen, and we're renovating it. And that's what we do. And I have two of my youngest employees there working, and they're pulling out a dishwasher and things like that. And lo and behold, they forgot to shut off the water. They didn't think the water was on, so they're sitting there and they're undoing it and they're pulling, and they come out, and all of a sudden that water line is leaking everywhere. I'm not there. They're there. I explained to them what to have done. But these guys are apprentices. They're learning, right? And the shop is water's coming out. It's a half-inch copper line, and water is just gushing out. So they go out to the street, but the way our shop is situated, we have 3 different water shutoffs. So they're going out there and they're running up and down the street. And these guys are young. They're 19, 20 years old. And we're training them. And these guys are running up and they're shutting all the water off at the street that they can find. And it's still coming out. It's still coming out. They call superintendent, and he's like, well, just shut the water off at the street. And they're like, yeah, we did. And he's like, well, all right, I'm be on my way. And then they said, oh, wait, it's slowing down. I think we got it. Well, then they call him back 15 minutes later. No, it's still coming out. And then I get a text saying the shop is flooding. And I'm thinking, what in the world? The shop is flooding. So I call and I said, what's going on? And they're like, we're pulling out the dishwasher and the water's just coming out. I said, didn't you shut the water off before you pulled out the dishwasher? No. I said, well, don't you think that would have made sense? Yes. So anyways, I'm about 15, 20 minutes away. I hop in, and I was on a job. I hop in the car and come down here, and I'm here, and it's still going crazy. And we have concrete floors, and so it's flooding all over the place, and it's creating a mess. We got a half-inch of water all over the floor. And so I say, get the garden hose. They get the garden hose. I cut that copper line off. I shove that copper line into the hose to start draining it outside. And I'm looking around, and the superintendent was here right before I got here. And he said, well, you guys missed a water shut off. So he got the street key, and he's working on that. And I just walk around, and on the back side of the wall, there's a water shut-off valve. And I just turn that, and that thing shut right off. And then right about the same time, he shut the water off to the street. I was not a happy camper. But how do you deal with situations like that when it is just chaos? So we had a meeting this morning about this, and this happened yesterday. And I said, well, I don't care how late you guys are going to stay here. I said, you guys are going to clean up your mess. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they're apologetic, and they feel stupid. And I didn't belittle them or try to make them feel stupid. I've learned now to hold my tongue, cool down, and just kind of walk away. I said, we'll talk about this. So 15 minutes later, I come in, I said, look, guys, what could have been done differently? And so we walked through all the scenarios. I said, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does stupid stuff. Now, we want to try to limit those stupid things that we do on a lifetime basis, right? We don't want to be known as the person who constantly does stupid things. So we want to limit those as much as possible. But I walked through with my employees. I just showed them, and I just said, look, this is what you do. And so we had a follow-up meeting this morning, which we do on Friday mornings. And I said, look, this is what's going to happen with, and thankfully it was not at a customer's house, right? But, and like I said, these guys are apprentices. They're in training. So oftentimes, like, we'll have them swap out toilets, do things like that, trim work, paint, all that type of stuff at the shop in our training program just for these purposes. So I went through, and this is a very important thing that I think transcends just not only the construction business, but all business, all entrepreneurs, just basic matter of life that we can all glean from. I said two things, guys. When something happens that seems catastrophic or just seems out of control, stop. Stop and assess the situation. Don't freak out, because when you freak out, you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, and you're never making the right decisions. So the first thing I implore to them, I explain to them is just stop. Just stop. Don't do nothing. Just look at the situation. Okay? And I'm not saying sit there for 5-10 minutes. No, just stop. Give yourself 30 seconds to breathe and look at what's going on. The second thing is do a 360-degree observation. Look at the problem. Where is the problem stemming from? Walk around that problem 360 degrees and see, because 99.9% of the time, a clue or an answer is going to be given when you do that, when you walk around the problem 360 degrees. Had they done that, had they walked around that problem 360 degrees, they would have seen a shutoff valve, and they would have shut it off, and that would have been that. But these guys are young. They're panicking. They're thinking they're going to get fired. They're freaking out. They don't know what to do. So they're calling. They call the superintendent. They call me. They text me. They call me. We get here. We fix the issue. It's a learning moment. But that's not going to be the only learning moment. That's not going to be the only thing that happens that is a catastrophic. I mean, because life is full of catastrophe. Especially the more work that you do, the more opportunity and probabilities for catastrophe. It's just a numbers game. And so, but having the right mindset and knowing how to deal and how to approach those events is key. And so for entrepreneurs, are you training your employees to assess the situation? I had a meeting with my employees a month or two back on critical thinking, going through this issue because we had another issue and it wasn't catastrophic. But we had a meeting a couple months ago, and I should have followed it up. That was on me. I should have followed it up with steps to teach them more critical thinking, because I, as a business owner, am trying to invest in these young men who come in with no skills right out of high school. Oftentimes they come from broken homes, broken families. Oftentimes they don't have father figures, or they don't have men in their lives who have taught them certain skills or how to think critically. So we're really starting off with just a blank canvas. And just getting people to think in the proper mindset in and of itself is a job. But I welcome that. It's one of the things I love about my job as a boss, as an owner, is to invest in young people. And so I take these young guys and we're training them. So critical thinking. If you need to teach your employees to think critically, I think this is so important and so underappreciated as a talent or as a mindset in looking for employees, is to see if people, if they do have critical thinking, man, grab those people up. Now, if they don't, what are you doing to help them and to develop them into thinking critically of problems and situations and dealing with customers, dealing with projects and things like that? And so we've implemented some things here at Priority Maintenance just to help with that in our training program with critical thinking, putting them through paces in situations that they might have to, under close supervision, to see how they would respond, to see what decision they would make. We'd run them through. For instance, I did it just recently. We just started a brand new job yesterday. I said, all right, what would you do here? What would you do here? What would you do here? And we just run through, we gameplay those scenarios. That's really extremely important, especially if you're investing in your employees for the long term, which is Priority Maintenance's mindset. We are investing in people for the long term, for long-term growth. So let me tell you, how to deal with employees who make big mistakes. Now, some mistakes, they are absolutely fireable. And this is not a blank excuse for everything. Some mistakes are reprehensible, right? If they cause bodily injury, bodily harm to somebody else, or something like that, then yeah, obviously you have to approach each situation as it warrants. But with this situation, it's just some water. It's on concrete floors, epoxied concrete floors. Not a big deal. They mopped. We got a little bit of trim damage, but that's what we do. It's actually going to be a learning example for them. And so I got some couple T-shirts made. Said make sure you shut the water off. And I'm going to make them wear. But other than that, I think it's an important lesson on the overall mindset is to teach your employees to have critical thinking. Have the things in place to teach them how to do that. Write these things out. And we're going to be offering some tools on our website down the line for employers and for employees to make you a better employee and make you a better employer. And just to help out, because I love entrepreneurship and I love entrepreneurs, and we're all in this together, and we want to make America better. We want to make business better and a stronger nation, our stronger communities, and we do that by helping one another. And so with that being said, I hope this finds you well. I hope that this might brought you a laugh or two, or made you think of how you could be a better boss, better entrepreneur for your employees. Continue to follow us on this podcast, and we're going to be having some great guests coming up. We're going to be covering some great topics on how to be a boss, how to be an entrepreneur, how to be an employee, how to do all these things. And so I hope that you I hope that you leave us a great review. I hope that you share this, and have a great and wonderful and blessed day. Signing off. Stay tuned.